So today's project is working on finalizing the location of where I'm going to start digging post holes, setting the foundation for my 4x4 posts. A few of the tools that I'm going to use today: my 3-pound sledgehammer, 30-foot tape measure, and I've got some marking flags that I'm going to use that I made myself out of skewers and sticky notes, because sticky notes are life. My life would not be complete without sticky notes. I have 6 more semi-permanent posts that I'll drive into the ground after I put the blue flags in, and I ask the missus to come outside, approve of its location and where it's going to be, and then I can start to put the stakes down and get a good idea of where I need to start digging my post holes. So let's get at it. Good old multi-tool. So here are my 2-inch by 2-inch semi-permanent posts, which I'll use for marking a lot of different things maybe in the future, but for today it's to figure out exactly where I'm going to put my post holes. Can't forget the wah-wah. Stay hydrated, kids. So I don't want the playground to take up too much space in the backyard, but I don't want it near that wall where the tree is down. That wall is a drop off about 3 feet into other people's property. But I also don't want it too close to the shed, because if the kids are running around it, I don't want them to bump into the shed. And also, if I put things on the side of the playground, I don't want it interfering with the shed, and I don't want the shed interfering with it. So right now I'm going to just kind of put my flags down, see how I like it. So part of it is I'm going to have to measure at least 8 feet across, 8 feet back, and then I'm going to have to make sure that my hypotenuse is square. So I want to make sure that it's relatively parallel to the deck and the house. At the same time, I want to make sure that it's not askew either, because then my 2x4s and all my other wood and lumber is not going to fit correctly. So I got 11 feet on this hypotenuse, and I got 11 feet 6 inches on this hypotenuse, which means I'm more of a rhombus. So one of the directions across is shorter than the opposite opposing vertexes. So it's more of a rhombus shape right now than a perfect square. So I've got to keep adjusting my rhombus, shifting it maybe side to side, front to back, to square off the shape rather than it being kind of a rhombus. I've got this thing down to being square within 1/4 of an inch diagonally. So nice. Right now it's 8 feet by 8 feet, and I've got 11 3.5 with that dimension, and I have 11 3 3/4 that direction. So I'm only 1/4 of an inch off. What I got to do next is I'm going to actually measure from this flag over here and this flag over here. I'm going to measure it to an even point on the deck. At least either the front 2 flags with the house or the back 2 flags with the back line, property line, so that the playground from above doesn't look like it's shifted off. Okay, because you know how we like everything in boxes, so I've got to make sure the boxes all line up with each other. Okay, got to do a little bit more surveying of the land. Back left, which is my back left of the property, the back left is 11 feet 8 inches from that wall. That back right flag, I'm getting around 11 feet 6 inches. Well, so far it looks pretty good. All right, so we're square. It was slanted this way. So on a rhombus, if it's slanted like this, that's the longest length, which that's what that was. Okay, meaning if it's a rhombus, this is the shorter bisector here between those two angles. And so I've shifted it this way to straighten it out. All right, so I've got my 4 stakes in, and so remove them and start digging away. So the post hole digger is probably about 6 inches in diameter. I'm probably going to try to create maybe like an 8 to 10 inch hole diameter so that I can get the 4x4 post into here and then have enough room to pour cement around it after I create a stone footing. I need about 17 inches, 18 inches of depth. So I'm probably barely even about 10 inches in, not even cleared out 10 inches. That's gonna be a shoulder workout today. Shoulder workout. Just to point out, friends, one of the reasons why it is so hard to dig in the ground in New York State is because it's all unsorted soil from the glaciers dropping all those sediments in the past, unsorted. So you got these big old cobbles and pebbles that are getting in the way of just going into that nice soil. All right, I have dug out my 4 post holes, as you've seen. I need to take a break, maybe get some lunch. The next installment of today is going to be put some of those 4x4 posts up. I'll tack them in place with 2x4s. The land slopes just slightly on this axis here, so the post might have a difference in height of maybe an inch or two, not maybe an inch, not too noticeable. The back posts are going to sit lower. The land slopes down and away from the camera. All right, update. We're back where I left off. I'm going to use these 2x4s to see if I can square off these holes to make sure that the center of these holes are as close to where I need the posts to actually sit. I might take the post hole digger and dig out the hole a little bit better so that I can realize that the center of each hole is the center of where I want to put the post. After that, probably fill in some crushed stone and tamp it down, and then I see if I can get some 4x4s up in the air. Now I'm going to start adding some stone to the bottom of this hole. Also, some of the cement will get into it, create kind of even more of like a firm concrete base. Old 2x4 on my sledgehammer. I'm going to tap it down, try to get it nice and even at the bottom, flat and compacted, so that there isn't any settling later with the structure itself. We got some crushed stone that I've tamped down and have leveled out. So I'm going to keep adding that until I feel like I've got about 2 or 3 inches in each of these holes, and then start loading up some 4x4s after I feel like I have a decent depth. Alright, so I feel pretty satisfied. This is about 12 inches. Pitter patter, let's get at her. So I've had an opportunity to lay out the 4x4 posts next to the holes that I just dug out. I've made sure that all the stone that I have in there is level. Right now I'm going to tie down or tape down 2 levels to the 4x4 posts so that when I bring them up, I can figure out whether or not they're plumb, meaning that they're as vertical as I can make them. I'm going to attempt to then tack 2x4s to them to create stilts to hold this thing up in place with my nail gun. So good luck to me. Success, it worked. Yes. Right now I've got 1 post up. So all the 4x4 posts are up. Next thing I have to do is check to see if right now the posts are squared off enough. I can continue to assemble this with the 8-foot lengths and permanently tie them together. I am going to start attaching a couple of sides just to make sure that they're 8 feet long. And then I'm going to continue. I'm going to connect it up. Sent 3 screws into this one. I might send more. I might send up to 5 in each of the corners on every side I go around, just to make sure that it's extra strong in those 4x4s solid. So everything is plumb, everything is square. I am now going to start creating the joists to go across in order for me to attach my decking to. I'm going to need to create an extra hand for myself. So just like these braces here that I use to hold the posts up, I'm going to tack in a 2x4 across the length of this, and I'm going to rest my 2x4s on this side and then attach it on the other side. I also have to go through, I have to mark roughly 16 inches on center for all of my joists to go across and attach, kind of standard residential code for floors and even in walls. That's the end for today.